Thank you for joining us today. So, uh, the pro-choice God, that's the title of the topic today. Before come to the content, I want to share two scenarios. Karen is in big trouble. She has a scholarship to of her first choice college, a nice boyfriend, and a leadership role in her church youth group. By the time, uh, but at but that at home pregnancy test she just took is positive. She cannot give up on all of her dreams for this one mistake, can she? I don't have any other option. Karen concludes. My parents will kill me if they find out. I have a full ride volleyball scholarship. Besides, it's a simple procedure and no one else ever needs to know. There is one more case. Growing up as a pastor's daughter, Julie knew that life was precious. But 5 years after the abortion her parents forced her to have, she's still angry, broken, and depressed. Shame and embarrassment kept her silent about her uncle's sexual abuse. But when she got pregnant, she could not hide it anymore. Julie was taken across state lines. Her baby forcibly aborted, and she was forbidden to talk about it until now. I was a minor. I didn't have any say. Julie mumbles through tears. All my parents cared about was keeping up their reputation. So these are two different scenarios. And we know that every story has two sides or more than two sides. And when we talk about abortion, abortion is a hot topic all around the world, be it in West, be it in the East, be it in developed countries or developing countries. Abortion is a big topic. And there are people who are arguing for abortion and people who are against abortion. And there are a lot of debates going on regarding whether it is okay to abort, what are the moral background of that decision, at what stage we can abort. So there are a lot of discussions and debates going on right now. And I want to bring you to some statistics. There are a lot of numbers in connection with abortion. I don't want to take you to all those numbers because it is too much. I don't want to overwhelm you with you that. These numbers are from WHO website, World Health Organization. 73 million induced abortions take place worldwide each year. And I know that there are other numbers available. There are some statistics or some studies show that 130 to 140 million induced abortions are taking place each year. That is double than this number WHO has. And I chose WHO because like even the people who are against or for abortion, WHO is usually a internationally accepted organization. That's why I took this. When we give the bigger number, people might say that, or people against or people for abortion say that that is an exaggerated number. Which is double than this. Anyway, I thought, okay, WHO should be acceptable to most of the people. So that's why, according to them, 73 million induced abortion each year. And the next number is a little bit scary. 3 out of 10 of all pregnancies end in induced abortion. 3 out of 10. That is close to 30%. That's a huge number. And again, this is WHO number. If the reality might be different, reality might be a lot more than this. But this is worldwide accepted number. That's why I am quoting WHO numbers. So these numbers are huge. A lot of abortions, 73 million in a year, or that means 73 million more people in the world, which are supposed to be there, are no more there. And 3 out of 10 pregnancies, that's huge. So this brings us to, or divides the world. These numbers and these debates divides the world into two: the pro-choice versus pro-life. And today we are going to discuss what does each side believe, and as a Christian, what is my choice? Like in that way, I would say I am pro-choice because I'm gonna present what is my choice. Anyway, what is pro-choice and what is pro-life? Pro-choice, these are the group of people who identify, the people who identify as pro-choice believe that everyone has the basic human right to decide when and whether to have a child. It is a basic human right to decide when and whether to have a child. So just like water or shelter or clothing or safety, they consider the ability to make decision about abortion as a human right. And the second point, choose abortion as an option for an unplanned pregnancy. And this is not from any Christian website. This is taken from Planned Parenthood website. Planned Parenthood is, I think, the biggest pro-choice organization in the world, who promote a lot of abortions, or according to them, they promote the health of women by advocating abortion. So they believe that the ability to decide whether and when and whether to have children is a human right. So now the question, okay, we told that abortion is the option for them. So when we talk about abortion, is it a murder or is it just a procedure? This question arises a lot more other questions. Abortion is a murder only if that fetus or embryo is alive. So now the second question is whether that fetus or embryo or the bulb of tissues, whatever you call, whether that's a person or not. Is that an individual or is it just a bulb of tissue? Otherwise, another question is, when does life start? When does life start? If life starts early in the pregnancy stage, or does life start with the birth of the baby, or does life start after the birth of the baby? Because now there are a lot of questions. When can you abort? Some people say that, okay, up to 16 weeks. Some people say that before 20 weeks. Now, a lot of lawmakers around the world are arguing for abortion up to 40 weeks. Like we know that when it is, I think 34 weeks, that's a full-time baby. 34 weeks of pregnancy is considered as full-term. So there are organizations and peoples and many lawmakers who are arguing for abortion up to 40 weeks, and an extreme group of people, they are arguing for abortion after the birth of the baby for next couple of weeks. Like after the birth of the baby, for next couple of weeks, they claim that they have the right to abort, or they need the right to abort after the birth of the baby. So the question is, when does life start? Is it during the fertilization? Is it during implantation? Fertilization, as we know, fertilization is when the um, um, uh, male, the egg and the zygote is formed. That part is fertilization. And when that embryo is planted on the uterus wall, that is called implantation. And is it at that point life starts? Then people say that the organs, the heart, and some of these internal organs develop later into fifth weeks and sixth week. So does life start at that point? Does life start when the baby is born? That's usually 40th week, or after that. So if life start in the during the fertilization, then anything after that, it should be considered as a murder. So, and another thing, people argue for abortion, as the case I mentioned, one of the case, argue for abortion based on a couple of reasons, especially that makes it look like abortion could be a birthright, or abortion could be a human right, or it makes look like abortion as a necessity in some cases. uh, any person, like it appeals to some of these scenarios, appeals to the morality of each person. For instance, rape case, one of the second case I presented, that girl was abused by her uncle, and as a result of that rape, she was pregnant. And people argue that, okay, that's not that the choice of that girl, it was a rape, and that's gonna be traumatic for the baby and the mother and the family. So abortion is the best option. And it might appeal to our logical reasoning and morality. Sometimes people might think that, okay, maybe it is better not to have that baby and avoid all these problems. And another scenario is if mother or the baby has a physical condition that is threat to the life of mother or baby, or both mother and baby. So in order to save the life of mother, maybe abortion is better. So by performing abortion, you can save the mother, life of the mother. Sometimes by performing abortion, you can save the health of the mother. And in some other cases, if the baby seems to have physical or mental health issues, some of these genetic abnormalities and all, we can identify even in the pregnancy stage. So maybe if the child has some like untreatable disorder, it's better not to have that baby and leave that baby to suffer throughout his life. So some of these things might be appealing to our reasoning and our morality. That's why we need to, especially when they appeal it to the health of the mother and baby, we need to see the other side of the story. What is the other side of the story? 13.2 of maternal deaths can be attributed to unsafe abortion. 13% of maternal death. It's not just like during the abortion, out of abortion, 13%. It's not that statistics. Out of total maternal death, 13% is attributed to unsafe abortion. So if we say that abortion is to help the people to save their life or to save their health, the other side shows that actually abortion is causing death among mothers. Estimates from 2012, it's 10-year-old, so the numbers will be much more than this. Anyway, estimates from 2012 indicates that in developing countries alone, 7 million women per year were treated in hospital facilities for complication of unsafe abortion. They are some of them at least trying to or arguing for abortion for the life and health of women. And here we saw that it is causing a threat. Abortion is causing a threat to the life of mother, and abortion is causing a threat to the health of mothers. 7 million per year are treated because of the complication of abortion. That is 10 years ago. Again, an older number. Estimates from 2006 show that complications of unsafe abortion cost health system in developing countries US dollar 553 million per year for post-abortion treatment. This is 16-year-old. The numbers will be a lot more now. And this is only in developing countries. So for the post-abortion treatment, these developing countries are spending $553 million. In addition, household experience US dollar 792 million in loss of income due to long-term disability related to unsafe abortion. So 553 million the health system is spending, and the families are facing about $922 million per year. That was 16 years ago. That means $1.5 billion people and the health system are spending because of unsafe abortion. So this is the other side of the coin. We know that a lot of people argue for as the case I presented, the first case I presented, she got a scholarship. So there are a lot of better things. So in order not to sacrifice those better things, I choose not to have the baby. That's one side of the story. But there are a lot of other people, not out of selfish motives, thinking that they are helping, maybe even Christians, thinking that they are helping others to promote the life and health of women. And numbers show that it is actually causing threat to the life and life, health, and economy of people. There are a lot of myths about abortion. Some people say that it's a simple procedure. Life will resume on Monday. It is a simple procedure. It's just the removal of a group of tissues. So that's why the question about when does life start, that is important. So some people, at least in the pregnancy stage, life does not start. And it is a simple procedure of removing a bulb of tissues. Then it's not a baby, it's a bulb of tissues. It is okay, abortion is legal. We know that there are, in different countries, there are a lot of things which are legal, which are morally not right. And most of the countries in the world, majority of the countries, abortion is legal. That does not make it right. My life will be ruined if I have this baby. So I choose to abort. It's my choice, my responsibility, my decision. That's another argument, as I told, based on the first case I presented. It is my choice, my responsibility, my decision. It is okay to have an abortion if there is something wrong with the baby. Maybe, as I told, sometimes the babies would have some kind of abnormalities, chromosomal abnormalities, or diseases or disorders. So it's okay to have. It's better not to let the baby to suffer. I am alone. No one cares about me. I don't deserve forgiveness. I knew it was wrong. So this is after abortion. Some people like they choose to abort the baby, and after that they say, I don't deserve forgiveness. I knew it was wrong. I did it, so I don't deserve forgiveness. I got what I deserved. I did it more than once. This won't hurt. The pain will subside. It is my only option. He doesn't want the baby. It is okay in cases of rape or incest. So the question is abortion acceptable? If you ask me as a Christian, I would say no, because there are a couple of reasons. We'll go through some of these reasons. Again, as I mentioned, I understand that there are people who try to promote abortion as a healthy option, or in cases of rape or incest, in cases of physical conditions. But let's discuss some of those topics. Again, we asked a question in the beginning, whether abortion is a murder or is it a simple procedure. And while discussing that, we spoke about when does life start. So the American College of Pediatricians says that life starts at fertilization. Life starts at fertilization. So if that's the case, then any kind of abortion at any stage, that's a murder, because life starts at fertilization according to them. So this is the so-called science. But let me present the biblical perspective of life. When does life start? We can see that there are two ways life starts, two aspects of the beginning of life. One, we see that in the prenatal stage, it starts. Psalms 113, verse 15 and 16. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. So it says that my frame was not hidden. So from that, we can understand that in the prenatal stage itself, it's my frame. It's not about that. It's not about the cells. It's not about the embryo. It's not about the zygote. Is it that my frame? So we can understand through the words of psalmist that in reality, the life starts in the prenatal stage. But in the perspective of God, we understand from the Bible that life starts even before. Life starts before even the fertilization happens. Life starts in the mind of God. Verse 16 of Psalms 139. Your eyes saw my unformed body. Your eyes saw my unformed body. Even before the body was formed, eyes of God saw me. Can you see it? life start in the eyes of God, in the mind of God. So the debate is going on in this world, or in the scientific world, or in the world of that debate between pro-choice and pro-life about when does life start. Some say that life start at fertilization. Some says life start during the implantation. Some says that life start in the 5th or 6th week because the heartbeat starts at that time. And some says life start when the baby is born. And some says that life start even after that. That's why there is a debate about up to what stage you can abort some baby. They debate about even like debates are going on. Is it okay to abort a baby after the birth of the baby? So when the world is debating about when life starts, Bible tells us that life starts in the eyes of God or in the mind of God, even before the fertilization, even before the bulb of tissues or the flesh or whatever it is, the science or other people say, even before that come into existence, life starts. That's what Bible says. Your eyes saw my unformed body. So another reason I say no to abortion. The first reason is life starts before our tissues are formed. So abortion at any stage is a murder. The second reason is every human being is created in the image and likeness of God, including the unborn babies, including those tissues or bulb of tissues or the zygote or embryo that is created in the image and likeness of God, because God created each person. Even before we were born or even before we were conceived, God knew me. So he created me in the image and likeness of God. So when we create, we read in Genesis chapter 1 and 2, we read that God created man in the image and likeness of God. And we read, when we come to Genesis chapter 6, we see that everyone, not just Adam and Eve, but everyone is created in the image and likeness of God. I am created in the image and likeness of God. You are created in the image and likeness of God. Every baby, every person, every prenatal baby, the unborn baby is created in the image and likeness of God. So I have no right to kill someone who's created in the image and likeness of God. Then the third reason, the question about, again, it is connected to the first point. The question is, if killing after birth is wrong and is legally punishable, then killing before birth also should be legally punishable, or it's wrong. We know that if I kill somebody, other than there are certain exceptions like self-defense and all, but if I kill someone, it is a punishable offense. So that is about killing after birth. If that is wrong, killing before birth also is wrong, because we saw that life starts physically during the fertilization, but life starts even before that. Even before the conception, life starts. So abortion means taking away a life. That means it is killing. So now the world is contemplating and debating about killing a baby after the birth, maybe a couple of weeks, they want to have the choice of aborting a baby after a couple of weeks, but after a couple of weeks from the birth. But that is, we know that that is murder, and if that is wrong, killing before birth also is wrong. Then the fourth point: how can I ignore when a baby says, "My life, my choice"? We saw that one of the reason people say that it is my choice, my responsibility, my life, that is pro-choice. My life, my choice. My body, my choice. So how about the choice of the baby? How about the choice of the unborn baby? How can we ignore the voice of the unborn babies? When if the baby say, my life and my choice, how can we ignore that? We know that we live in a world of different types of activists. People are arguing for the people, or people are trying to become the voice of the voiceless. Animal activists, nature activists, different types of people try to protect the nature and environment, animals and plants. And when people are trying to be the voice of the voiceless, how can we ignore the voice of these voiceless babies, the unborn babies? How do we know that? How can we assume that they don't have a voice? How can we assume that even when we are arguing about lifeless things, all kind of natural monuments, archaeological things, we are arguing for those lifeless things. And here, how can we ignore the voice of babies? We cannot ignore them. So we need to be like, I appreciate people who try to be the voice of voiceless, like animal activists and other things. But we need to be more and more considerate towards the voice of our unborn babies. We cannot ignore their voice. Next one, we saw that one of the reason people try to promote abortion, especially when people with, I would say, with the good intention, like try to promote well-being, try to promote health of the mothers, try to protect the life of the mothers, try to protect an unborn baby from the suffering if there is a physical abnormality. So they try to promote well-being. Like there is an extreme case when selfishness is a reason, like okay, it will affect my happiness, it will affect my career growth, it will affect my educational goals. So that's a different category. And people try to promote abortion for health and life of the baby, or of the mother. So the question is it okay to destroy another person for my well-being? Okay, maybe, see, we in Bible, we read that every children are gift from God. So God does not give uh, bad or wrong gifts to us. Every gift from God is a good gift. So no child, whether unplanned or unwanted child, will be a burden to any person. But even if, imagine or consider, take it hypothetically, a baby would bring burden to the parents. But still, is it okay to destroy another person for my well-being? In order to save my life, is it okay to kill another person? In order to save my health, is it okay to kill another person? I would say no. It is not okay to kill another person for my well-being, for my health, and for my life. I would say I am pro-choice. I am pro-choice because I prefer the choice of the baby about their life. I prefer the choice of a baby about his life over the choice of a mother about another person. You can say that that baby is that mother's baby, but still it's a different person. Each person is a unique individual. So that's a different person. So I prefer the choice of that baby about his or her life over the choice of the mother about another person, be it his her child. And the reason I prefer the choice of the baby, because I believe in the pro-choice God, a God who gave us the choice. Let me read a verse. It says that it's John chapter 3, verse 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. So here it says that whoever believes in him. So he gave us the choice. We live in a world where people are arguing for pro-choice and pro-life, and we think we live in a world where people are arguing for the choice or wrong choices of people, or choice of someone over the life of another person. But here we see a God who gave us the choice. What you can do. He did what he wanted to do for us, or he did what he should have done to save us. There was no other way. Bible says that wages of sin is death. And Bible also says that everyone is a sinner. So there was only one way, that was the sacrificial death of the Son of God, Jesus Christ. But he gave me the right to take decision. So whoever believes in him shall not perish. So because he is pro-choice, because he gave me the right, or the right to make decision about whether to believe or not believe, he could have made me in a way that I automatically believe in God. Or he could have saved us even without the without faith. He is a sovereign God, omnipotent God. He can do anything he wants to do. Certain things he cannot do. He cannot compromise his nature. He cannot sin. He cannot cease to exist. There are certain things God cannot do. I agree to that. But he is an omnipotent God who could make me a saved person without my faith. But he gave me the choice whether I want to believe him or not. So I believe in a God who is a pro-choice God. And because of that, I believe in the choice of the baby. I prefer the choice of the baby about his life. So I know these discussions and debates will not end any soon, but this is just to bring another perspective about this, the choice of the baby. I am pro-choice. I am for the choice of the baby. And today I want you to be pro-choice, not just about the life of a baby, not about abortion, but it is about you, about your life, to have eternal life. It is your choice. God gave you, the pro-choice God gave you the decision, the ability to make the decision or ability to choose. So if you believe in the Son of God, you will get eternal life. You will have eternal life. If we accept the choice of the babies, they will have the physical life on this world. But if you believe, if you choose to believe in Jesus Christ, you will have eternal, permanent life. So the choice is yours. God is pro-choice, and He has given you the opportunity to make that choice. Make your decision wisely. May the Lord bless you and help you to use this opportunity and accept Him. May His name be glorified.
Thank you. Thank you, Sibin, very much. I think that Judith has gone, and I think it's my turn to take over the Q&A portion of the program. And so thank you very much for a very interesting and thorough topic today. But I do have a couple of questions. Let's go to, do you have a Bible handy? Let's go to Exodus 21, verses 22 through 25. Do you believe, or do you see here, how do you work this? Do you understand that the child, the injury listed here in verse 22, it says, I'll read from the, let's see, I'll read from ESV. How about that? English Standard. It says in 22, when men strive together or fight together and hit a pregnant woman so that her children come out, but there is no harm, the one who hit her shall be surely be fined, as the woman's husband shall impose on him, and he shall pay as the judges determine. But if there is harm, then you shall pay life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. Do you consider this passage to be a testimony of the Lord against the killing of the unborn child?
Yes, yes, it is very clear. If there is no, see, it talks about the premature birth, which would be a big problem in that time because of the lack of all kind of medical advances and other technology. So it is possible that the baby would, like a premature baby, the possibility of death is more. But here it says that if there is no serious injury, that means the baby is safe. But if there is a injury, again, it is considered as murder. Or if the baby, if there is no serious injury, the offender must be fined. Whatever the, if there is a serious injury, you have to take life for life. So that consider that at that stage itself, life is life. There were a lot of other information. See, one reason they say that it's just a tissue, a bulb of tissue, is that they think that a baby cannot live outside the mother's womb after before certain time. But we see that like we have a lot of cases at 19th week, babies were born, and the like I think the survival rate, like it was a baby survived normally was when the baby was born in the 21st week. But there are cases baby was alive for 4 hours when the baby was born in 19th week. So that shows that even if it is 4 hours, baby could live outside. That means baby can live, that baby has life. And here it says that it's life for life. So that says that that baby has life. Even the premature baby has life. That's why it is said that life for life.
Let me play devil's advocate for you, because I know somebody will, somewhere in the world, they will play devil's advocate and they will say, no, the Bible's talking about if there's any injury to the woman, that if the woman is not injured, then there's a price to be paid. But if there's serious injury to the woman, then you have these effects take place. How would you respond to that?
See, okay. The things, the punishment we see. Okay, if the baby, if she gives prematurely, there is no serious injury. The
But
offender,
they would say to the woman, there's no serious injury to the woman. That's what they would say.
okay, so the thing is that eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand. So all these things, it should, there is no need for like a in a fight that woman to get hurt on the eye. She doesn't have to be pregnant. So that
Right.
hurt on the eye is not connected to pregnancy. So that clearly shows that it's a hurt on the baby.
Yeah. The answer is, if it's all about the woman, then why bother making her pregnant?
Yes.
Why bother with the example that she's pregnant? That's not an, if
Yeah.
the child is not the issue, then why put that in there? That's
Yeah.
that's the simple answer to that. Another question for you is this, and so this is, I'm not going to give the person's name just because not that it matters, but it's just going to say the person says, as a result of modern technology, we can figure out a deformed baby even inside the mother's womb. So I think if we are certain that the baby is to be abnormal, we'll not be able to decide what is right and wrong or sin. Is it not safe to practice abortion in such a case? Now, can I just sidebar this and give my own answer to this?
Yeah, sure.
Because there was an article just in 2017, August 16, 2017, that talked about a CBS News episode of CBSN on Assignment. Said it had an episode entitled "The Country Where Down Syndrome is Disappearing." And the story reported on the nation of Iceland an almost 100% abortion rate for preborn children diagnosed with Down syndrome. It says, since prenatal screening tests were introduced in Iceland in the early 2000s, the vast majority of women, close to 100%, who received a positive test for Down syndrome terminated the pregnancy. Using an ultrasound blood test in the mother's age, the test determines whether the fetus will have a chromosome abnormality, the most common of which results in Down syndrome. Children born with this genetic disorder have distinctive facial issues and a range of developmental issues, it goes on. Many people born with Down syndrome can live full, healthy lives with an average lifespan of around 60 years. Now it says Iceland sees only about 2 children a year born with Down syndrome, whereas in the United States, about 6,000 children are born annually with Down syndrome. And the test is not perfect. It's only 85% accurate. But I don't mind using myself as an example or as object lesson, because I didn't have Down syndrome, but I did have genetic abnormalities when I was born that caused structural problems in the way I developed. They're called developmental disabilities. It didn't affect my mind, but it did affect some of my body structures. And it strikes very close to home for me, because it makes me say to some people, why do you think that if I was imperfectly constructed from the womb, did not have a fundamental right to exist, right to life? I think I did. And I am sorry to see so many people believe that imperfect people are disposable people. And I think that what we've done is we've created a culture where if you're not perfect in certain ways, especially physically perfect as far as we can determine, that you're disposable. We can throw you away and start over with a new order because God got it wrong, or biology got it wrong. And that offends me deeply to the core. So I'd like your response to that, Sibin.
Yeah, my thoughts are going in line with what you told. See, that comes from basically the evolution principle, survival of the fittest. So only the perfect should survive, no one else. So sometimes they try to present this argument in the perspective of the person who is suffering. Like you just I'm quoting you because you presented you as an example. So they tell that, okay, why should Carrie suffer with all her structural deformality? But see, okay, it would have been uh, like, I would not suggest that, but see, it would have been a better argument if Carrie says that, why should I suffer because of my abnormality? But here someone else is saying that, I am saying that, why should Carrie suffer, so I'm gonna kill Carrie. That does not make sense at all. And that's the hypocrisy, or the double standard of the world. We are trying to protect everything that is weak, or all the endangered species, or all kind of, we are trying to bring them back, and we are trying to protect the nature. We are trying to use more what energy, green energy, to save the nature, and we are trying to protect the animals. And that's why I used even the, we are trying to be the voice of the voiceless. And
Mhm.
what about uh, the people? What about people whom we can communicate, whom we can relate, who shares the same thought pattern and emotions? Uh, like, just because they have some abnormalities or problems, how can we decide? And that is one aspect. Second reason, uh, see, in a lot of cases, people who thought that, okay, in the prenatal stage, okay, they will have these problems, and they will not survive after more than this many days or years. And we know that many of them came out without any issues. So, okay, there are technologies, and we can understand some of these genetical problems to an extent, but that's not 100% accurate. So that's another reason. Then the third one, how can we say that? Okay, imagine the people are like, some people are like, really, okay, consider in the financial or any other way, they're a burden to the society. I know that I'm being very rude, but just I'm trying to present the worst case scenario. They are burden to the society, but like, we, it's a group of people in the norms, they are burden to the society,
Mhm.
brought a lot of good things, innovations, and good things to this world. uh, Look at Stephen Hawking's. Like,
Mhm.
if we see, if we consider all these arguments, he is a burden to the society. He cannot talk properly, he cannot walk, he cannot do anything. And his contributions to the world of science, I'm not saying that I agree with everything he said.
I know, I don't either. He turned out
Yeah,
atheist, but anyway,
but that doesn't mean that we can ignore
no.
his contributions to the scientific world. There are so many other people, like, Carrie, what, how much you are doing for the glory of God compared to a lot of people who are perfectly healthy. So it's not about me, it's about the Lord who enables me, who strengthens me to do things. So it's about the God. So if we consider that part, I have no reason to think about, even consider some of these abnormalities, and that as a reason for abortion. So there are so many examples, so many people who uh, who who could be viewed as a burden to the society, contributed a lot more than other. Okay, the last point in this. Okay, if we think about only, okay, people talk about, okay, being the advocates for people who have abnormalities and care for their suffering. If that's the case, many of us should be killed now. I am uh, I have very high triglyceride. That's the floating cholesterol in our body. The normal should be less than 150. 1 year ago, mine was 2000. So it is very high. So I'm on high dose medicines, and the result of that is, um, now it is better. But the result of that high dose medicines, severe muscle pains throughout the day, and extreme fatigue.
Mhm.
Evening by 5 o'clock and all, I'm done. I have to come take sleep for at least 2 hours, and then get up and function. That's how I work right now. But if we consider the suffering, these so-called pro-choice people should kill me because I am suffering. So if we try to kill everyone who is suffering, uh, I don't know what would be the condition of the world.
Mhm.
So there are a lot of people suffering because of the physical and mental health. So should we kill them all?
I don't know about you, Sibin, but in my entire Christian life, which is now coming up on 48 years this summer, I have only heard one actual message from a pastor on a Sunday morning on the subject of abortion. One. But with gratitude, I was there and I took copious notes. And one of the things that he said was that children are the most important creatures in the world in God's sight. Leaving the Bible out and considering the many horrible conditions into which many children are born, it would be easy to conclude that they are simply the result of a biological process. But we know that God rules and controls the birth of children. He is sovereign. So children are not a handicap or a drain on our resources, any one of them, whether they're normal or physically handicapped or mentally handicapped or what. They are the greatest gift to a person apart from salvation. And one of the things he says there, he says, so if children are a gift, do we have the moral right to limit their appearance on the scene? And here's he says his opinion. If a person were living right in the center of God's will, and if he or she were walking by faith every single minute of every day, and if the conditions today were the same as they were at the beginning of creation, any husband and wife could leave the issue entirely up to God. And some people are there. We should never be critical of couples who have that kind of faith. But many people, pastors included, are not always in the center of God's will. When we all get to heaven, many of us may find that we've missed out on some blessings because we didn't have the right kind of faith in this area. Can you imagine, for example, if Susanna Wesley had chosen to have only 3 children instead of the 21 God gave her? The world would not have had Charles and John Wesley. But then he said this, this is not an opinion. You do have a right to limit your family size or space your children out in time if you wish. It is in scripture. Again, we may be missing out on some blessings, but it is our choice. As long as we're not using a form of birth control that stops the process of development after conception, that's the main thing. Any birth control method that prevents conception is 100% fine. You can use those. But once conception has begun, that's a new human being and has a right to life. So he says, God has an individual will for every one of his children, and God can provide for every child that comes into a family. Seek God's guidance together with general ideas. God knows the future, and he can give you wisdom. I thought those were good thoughts. Let's see, I'm going to check the chat once again, see if there's any more questions. Let's see. I didn't see any other questions. Can I touch on one more that's just a little bit tangential to you, Sibin?
Yep.
And again, going back to what devil's advocates may say, they may say Christians tend to be more in favor of capital punishment than they would say, I'm not in favor of capital punishment, but Christians are. What's the difference between capital punishment and abortion? They're both killing. Take it.
Yeah, I'm kind of, as I'm learning some of these topics, I'm becoming more and more pacifier. I'm not strong on those things. I'm still learning those parts, but I'm more towards the pacifier type, like leaning towards that. Like I'm slowly, maybe it will change. I don't know, but I'm like slowly becoming against war, against capital punishment.
War is a general concept. Of course, we're against war.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I didn't get you. I missed you. Sorry.
I said war is a concept. I mean, everybody, a lot of people are against war.
Mhm.
And even the soldier in war, even if it's if they call it what they call a just war,
Mhm.
doesn't want to kill anyone. They'd rather win without having to do that. One of the things that I might say is that in the Bible, when it says, if you take just the usual English translation of Exodus 20, I think it's Exodus 20, that says, thou shalt not kill, you shall not kill. The actual Hebrew word there is a word that means you shall do no murder, which is the killing of an innocent person.
Mhm.
Of course, we know that in the Old Testament, God several times commanded capital punishment and even carried it out himself against people who were guilty of violating his commands in one way or another. So taking the life of a guilty person for a capital crime is not the same
Yeah.
as the deliberate, unlawful killing of an innocent person.
Exactly. That's the difference. So even if I accept, see, as I told, I am leaning towards more like not against capital punishment nowadays, but still, even if I accept capital punishment, these two things are not comparable things. As you told, capital punishment is according to there are so many trials are going on, and there are clear rules regarding the punishment for each crime, and the capital punishment is I don't know how it is described here. In India, it is described as the crimes in the rarest of the rare. So only in such cases you can give capital punishment. So it's not usually one judge; it's a group of judges. They do
Right.
so, and there is a clear anybody can see the crime they did. So most people can tell that okay, it is he deserved it. But in abortion, there is nothing like that. We are just murdering innocent kids. So that's what I told. Even though I am leaning against capital punishment nowadays, it can change in future. I don't know as I study more, but as a person who is opposing capital punishment, still I cannot compare these two things. I cannot say that these two things are same or similar. So yeah.
And the last thing I would mention is that some people say, well, what about abortion in the cases of rape or incest? And I go, the Bible's got the answer on that one too. You kill the rapist, not the child.
Yeah.
The guilty person is the one who deserves to die. And that's in the Bible, and not the innocent child. So